Snow White bombs, breaks records for the lowest live-action remake opening ever. Snow White starring Rachel Zegler opened to a dismal $43 million, snagging the title of the lowest debut weekend for any Disney live-action remake, beating 2019's Dumbo at $46 million. They beat Dumbo. Shame on you, but it's for the worst ever. Falling short of $270 million budget before promotion, leaving Disney facing a brutal loss. Entertainment Media offered excuses, with Penske Entertainment Media monopoly claiming there's another thing when it comes to Snow White, and it has nothing to do with controversy, rather her age. Folks, if you watch this, tell me if this is attractive to you. Tell me if this is attractive to you. Like, does this, imagine you invested into her being the face of the movie, and she's the main character, and she's trying to promote the movie. Would this make you want to go watch the movie when she's starring in it and she's the main character?
And to everyone who hates when I win, the winged victory came to the Louvre in pieces, and people still line up to see her. And I can only hope that despite my flaws, and despite my cracks and my breaks, and there are many of them,
she's a good actress,
that at every premiere and everything I do, people will wait in line to see.
Wow. The ego on this girl is ridiculous.
Wow.
Disney used to be the king of entertainment. Everything they touched turned to gold. But now, it feels like they've lost their magic touch. They're throwing hundreds of millions at movies only for them to crash harder than a Disney World roller coaster with no safety checks. And one of the biggest disasters in recent memory, the live-action Snow White remake. What was supposed to be a fresh, modern reimagining of a beloved classic has turned into one of Disney's most controversial flops. Fans are outraged. Rachel Zegler's reputation has taken a serious nosedive, and Disney's stock, let's just say, investors are sweating harder than Goofy in a sauna. So, how did a simple fairy tale turn into a full-blown Hollywood disaster? Let's break it down. Let's rewind to 2021. Disney announced that Rachel Zegler, fresh off West Side Story, would play Snow White. On paper, it made sense. She had the talent, the voice, and she was a rising star. But the internet had other thoughts. Fans immediately noticed that Disney had cast a Latina actress to play a character famously described as having skin as white as snow. Some people didn't care, but for hardcore Disney purists, this was like changing Mickey Mouse's ears to triangles. And let's be real, casting changes aren't always a big deal. If a performance is good, most people will move on. But the problem wasn't just the casting itself, it was everything that happened next. Rachel could have played it cool, embraced the role, and let the movie speak for itself. But instead, she seemed like she hated the very thing she was promoting. In interviews, Zegler called the original Snow White weird and outdated. She dismissed the classic love story, saying that Prince Charming was basically a stalker and that her version of Snow White wouldn't be saved by a prince. Look, we get it. Times change. But this isn't The Handmaid's Tale. It's Snow White. Disney fans weren't amused. If you're remaking a beloved classic, maybe don't trash the original while trying to sell the new version. It's like if a chef said, "Here's my new burger. By the way, burgers suck. People aren't going to want to bite." Social media went into full meltdown mode. Clips of Zegler's interviews started making the rounds on Twitter, TikTok, and YouTube, with fans calling her ungrateful and narcissistic. Others argued that she was alienating the very audience Disney needed.
They had her tweet out like a little, "Yay, Snow White, can't wait, so excited, I love to play her." And she did it and got like millions of views, and they were like, "Good job, Rachel." And then she, like minutes later, followed it up with, "And never forget, free Palestine." And they were like, like all hell broke loose. Gal started getting death threats. She's Israeli, and I think served in the IDF.
She did.
They flew an executive, one of the producers, out to go visit personally with Rachel Zegler to say, "Could you please take that down?"
Instead of calming the storm, Zegler doubled down, making more sarcastic remarks about the film's legacy. It didn't take long before the backlash reached a point where Disney literally had to delete promo videos featuring her because the dislikes were out of control. Yikes. As if all of this wasn't enough, rumors started swirling that things behind the scenes weren't exactly smooth sailing either. Rachel Zegler starred alongside Gal Gadot, who played the Evil Queen. Now, on paper, This should have been an exciting duo, one of Hollywood's rising stars alongside Wonder Woman herself.
Please welcome Rachel Zegler and Gal Gadot.
Visual effects push the boundaries of what we see on screen.
Their work makes the impossible seem possible.
With breathtaking ambition, they create magic that wraps its arms around our wildest imaginations.
Here are the nominees for Best Visual Effects.
But apparently, there was tension. Reports started surfacing that Zegler and Gadot had political disagreements on set, particularly due to their differing views on the Israel-Palestine conflict. With Zegler being openly pro-Palestinian and Gadot being an outspoken supporter of Israel, things reportedly got awkward. Some sources claimed they barely spoke outside of filming. Others suggested that the crew had to work around their clashing personalities to keep things professional.
You know, I really don't remember you being this opinionated.
It's a telling statement given what our source describes as tension between Rachel and her evil queen co-star, Gal Gadot. Many speculate it stems from their political differences.
I really do believe that. Magic mirror on the wall.
Rachel made no mention of Gal inside Allure's cover story, out now.
Now, whether or not this affected the final movie is up for debate. But one thing's for sure, it didn't help the PR nightmare surrounding this film. By the time Snow White actually hit theaters, the damage was done. Fans weren't excited, casual moviegoers were turned off, and Disney had spent so much time putting out fires that they forgot to actually sell the movie. The result? This movie tanked. Despite a mind-blowing budget of $270 million, Snow White barely scraped together $87 million worldwide. That's not just a flop, that's an absolute financial disaster. For context, even The Little Mermaid, which also had backlash, made over $500 million. The Marvels, another Disney flop, still made more money than Snow White. Even the Haunted Mansion movie, which nobody asked for, outperformed it. If Disney execs weren't already sweating, this was the moment they started panicking. Here's where things go from bad to worse. Disney's stock has been plummeting for a while now, but this disaster added even more fuel to the fire. Since 2021, Disney has lost over $200 billion in market value. Investors are furious, and CEO Bob Iger is trying everything to turn things around. But here's the real problem. This isn't just about one bad movie. Disney's been stacking flops like they're trying to set a world record. The Marvels bombed, Indiana Jones 5 underperformed, Lightyear a total disaster, Haunted Mansion ghosted by audiences. Disney's problem isn't just that one movie failed, it's that audiences are tuning out entirely. People aren't blindly showing up for every live-action remake anymore. They're tired of soulless reboots, forced diversity changes, and out-of-touch marketing, and Snow White was the breaking point. So, where does this leave Rachel Zegler? Before this, she was positioned to be Hollywood's next big thing. Now, her career's in a serious jeopardy. Studios love rising stars, but they hate bad press even more. To recover, Zegler needs to apologize and rebuild her image. A little humility goes a long way. She doesn't have to fake loving Snow White, but she should acknowledge how much she alienated fans. Choose her next roles wisely. She needs a win fast. If she doubles down on controversy, her career could nosedive faster than Lightyear. Stay away from internet drama. Every time she speaks, the internet explodes. She might want to let the PR team handle things for a while. At this point, Snow White is a cautionary tale. Audiences don't want to be lectured. They don't want their favorite stories trashed. They want good storytelling, memorable characters, and, most importantly, respect for what made these classics iconic in the first place. Disney still has time to fix this mess, but if they keep repeating the same mistakes, their fairy tale ending might be further away than ever. As for Rachel Zegler, she's got a long road ahead, but if there's one thing we know about Hollywood, it's that redemption arcs sell. The real question is, will she take the opportunity to rewrite her own story? If you guys liked today's video, make sure you like and subscribe to the channel, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.
I really hope that audiences walk away from this film with an understanding of the true meaning of fairness, of what it means to be fair in this world. There is a message that's been carried on for almost 90 years now from the original animated classic. That is, fairness is what is within. Fairness is to do with your heart, the way you treat the people around you. And it has nothing to do with what you look like, and that's the misunderstanding between Snow White and the evil queen. I think it's such an important message, and the way that Disney has elevated it and brought it to this new audience is very special.